Rock and Roll Geek Show 957.
Still rocking after all these years.
This is the story of my rock and roll butler.
This is it, the show that started it all. Often imitated, but never equal. From San Francisco, USA, online since 2004. It's the one and only Rock and Roll Geek Show. With the original Rock and Roll Geek, Michael Butler.
Welcome to the Rock and Roll Geek Show. My name's Michael Butler. Thanks a lot for joining me. I really appreciate it. Today is Thursday, September 26, 2019, and it is 6:26 p.m. when I'm recording this episode. I'm now going to open up the second Tecate of the day. Take a sip of this fine Tecate. Well, the last show I did was, I believe, on Wednesday of last week. I did a Rick Ocasek tribute, and I told you that I was hoping to do a show the following Friday. Well, if you listen to that Rick Ocasek tribute, you heard me say that I was losing my voice. Well, the next day, my voice was completely gone. I mean, I could not even talk. I had band practice on Thursday. Showed up to band practice. I didn't know. Well, it wasn't completely gone the beginning of the day. It was hurting the beginning of the day, but I showed up to Butler's band practice because we had a gig on Saturday at a place called Retro Junkie in Walnut Creek, California. Thank you, everybody who showed up, by the way. Todd Cunningham, friend of the show, and his wife were celebrating their anniversary there. And anyway, I'll talk about that in a few minutes. So I get to practice, and I start to sing, and nothing comes out of my voice. So my voice was completely gone, and I freaked out because I had a gig on Saturday, and the next day. That morning, I was. We had another practice the next day at noon, and that morning, I was Googling how to get your voice back in an emergency situation, and I read something about drink. What is it? Apple cider vinegar with ginger and and honey. So I made this big, huge concoction of apple cider vinegar, heated it up with some ginger, and had it warm, and brought that to practice. It was worse the next day at band practice. I just said, I'm not even going to sing, you guys. I need to heal my voice. Did not get any better. On Saturday, I planned on fishing before the gig, because I was going to fish Saturday and go up to the Mountain House early Sunday morning, right after the gig. So I'm fishing on Saturday. I go out trying to catch salmon. There were some other kayak guys there, and I was trying to talk to them and stuff, but nothing was coming out of my. I was, I'm sorry, I lost my voice. I'm talking over the radio. Radio check. It was really embarrassing. Did not catch any salmon. I was trying for salmon, but on the way out to salmon, I came onto a school of rockfish. This may or may not interest you, but if it doesn't, it's okay. Came onto a school of rockfish, and I just started pounding the rockfish. So I actually got 2 rockfish and went out and tried for salmon. Then I was coming in, and I stopped back off in that hole and got a few more rockfish. I could have limited out 10 rockfish, which is the limit. I could have gotten 10 rockfish in 10 minutes if I wanted to, but I stayed for like a few more minutes and got a couple more rockfish in, because that's all I wanted. I didn't want to be greedy, because I was going up to the Mountain House the next morning, and I needed to bring the fish with me because I wasn't going to have time to clean it. So I only brought 4 fish with me to the Mountain House. So I get to the gig, this place called Retro Junkie. The soundman, his name is Jeff Fogarty. I think his dad or his uncle is John Fogarty from Creedence Clearwater Revival. He's the sound man. He's a friend of Craig's and the Butler. He's booked us at shows before. This was a new club called Retro Junkie. At least it was new to us Really cool club, and we did not know what to expect. On the way to the gig, I read somewhere that steroid injections or super shots of steroid was used, because I remember hearing about the guy from Cinderella getting steroid treatments that would help his voice the day of the gig. So I went to an urgent care. They have these like drive-through urgent care places where they're not at the hospital. They're like commercial urgent care places. So I go in there and tell them the situation that I'm singing and I need some steroid. I called them ahead of time. They say, "Yeah, come on in. We'll give you some. We don't give shots, but we give you give a super dose orally." So I get there, and the woman says, "No, sorry, I don't feel comfortable." The doctor, she's a woman. "I don't feel comfortable giving steroids for somebody who has laryngitis. I'm sorry, I'm not going to do it." And I said, please, I'm a singer in a band, and there's a lot of money riding on this gig, and if we have to cancel, there's a whole bunch of people depending on me to sing, and if we have to cancel, we're going to lose lots of money. Please. I got on my hands and knees and begged this lady. So I talked her into giving me the steroids, and yeah, we did make some money, but it wasn't as much as I told her. But anyway, so I got the steroids. She said, "Oh, in 4 hours, your voice should be back to normal." So 4 hours later, it's time for us to go on stage. Actually, 5 or 6 hours later, it's time for us to go on stage, and I could sing high stuff like "ah" and "law," but I could not sing in my regular voice. In the Butlers, my background vocals are kind of prominent in the band, and so a lot of the sound of the Butlers depends on my background vocals being right, and I had to fake it the entire night. There was just nothing coming out, so it sucked. The gig was actually really good. It was a lot of people there. Todd Cunningham and his wife were there, and John Nash walked up to me, friend of the show, John Nash, walks up to me and goes, "Happy anniversary, value for value," and hands me $50 cash. I love it, man. I love it. Thank you, John Nash. I really appreciate it. So the gig was good. We're standing outside. There's a hot dog stand in front. We're eating hot dogs for that was our dinner before we go on stage, and people were just walking. There was like tons of girls walking into this place, and by the time we got on stage, the place was pretty damn packed, and turned out to be a really fun show. Even though I couldn't sing, we had a new drummer that night. Andy could not do the gig. He's out on tour with some other band now. So we got a fill-in guy, Tommy from Vane was playing drums with us, from the band Vane. He worked out quite well, and Joel from Vane and Featherwitch also sat in with us, and we had Michael Schall from the An Intimate Evening with Michael Schall on keyboards, and it was a fun show. We did 2 sets. We usually don't do 2 sets, but it was a fun time. And so I left and went straight to the Mountain House after that, and boy, was it nice to get to that Mountain House. I pulled out the trail cam. I'll get to some music in a few seconds, friends. I pulled out the trail cam and looked to see what was on it, and because I had it pointed down to my driveway, I saw a bunch of pictures of a fox. I saw the usual gang of dogs from the neighborhood walking into the yard and stuff. And I saw a black bear walking up my driveway. A fucking black bear. Can you believe that? I was excited, man. And I also saw a deer deer stuck his face right in the trail cam. It was actually a female deer. You can't kill those in California. But I did go fishing, or not fishing. I did go hunting. Did not get anything and didn't see any animals, but I didn't stay out that long. But I had a good time up in the Mountain House. I stayed up there from Sunday and Monday, and came back Tuesday. So I took Monday and Tuesday off, and it was a great weekend. Even though I could not talk the entire weekend, there was just nothing coming out. My voice is just now getting back to somewhat normal. I'm coughing up all this stuff from my lungs. So apparently my lungs were just like full of stuff. The steroids did not work because there was just so much congestion in my lungs. But yeah, that was my weekend, and it was a good weekend. I enjoyed it. I hope yours was great as well, friends. I am going back early Saturday morning up to the mountain house. It was pretty hot up there this past weekend. The first day it was okay. It was a high of like 70, and then it got up to like 85, and it was scorcher. You couldn't really do anything. I chainsawed a lot of wood with my new Husqvarna Turbo 450 chainsaw. Went out and chopped some wood and made some cool end tables and some stands for the dog bowls. I'm getting into making furniture out of logs with the chainsaw. Quite enjoying it, friends. Quite enjoying it, being a mountain man. I love it. Not much of a mountain man, but it's nice. So this weekend, it's supposed to be a high of like 55 degrees and low of like freezing. It's supposed to go below freezing. I get to pull out the chainsaw and chop some firewood because we got a wood burning stove in the place. I'm looking forward to it. So that's my plans and my weekend of last week. Let's play some music, shall we? I got this sent to me from Eddie Spaghetti Tone Records. Eddie Spaghetti is he's the bass player and singer of what's that band? You know the band I'm talking about. Why can't I think of it? You know who I'm talking about. Now I got to look for it. Let me pause to look for it. Super Suckers. It was on the tip of my tongue. So I'm on their mailing list. He's got a record label called Spaghetti Town Records, and he sent this band called the Bitch Queens. Compared them to Turbo Negro, Helicopters, and Glucifer, so that's kind of up my alley. So I gave it a listen, and there was a link to the entire album. So I downloaded the entire album, and I'll be damned, that fucking album, pardon my language, that album, top to bottom, pretty damn good. So I'm going to play for you the single from the album, which is called City of Class, by a band called Bitch Queens. Got a lot to go over on this episode. I'm going to do a track by track of Black City Riders, and I got some audio comments and just some other things to talk about as well. Here's the new single from a band called Bitch Queens. They're from Switzerland. Spaghetti Town Records' next release is from Swiss rockers Bitch Queens. Their fourth LP is attached. Thanks for your consideration. So I'm going to play the Bitch Queens. This song is called City of Class. It has a little bit of a Turbo Negro sound, but it also reminds me a little bit of Dictators as well. You tell me what you think, friends. rockandrollgeek@gmail.com. Here's the Bitch Queens.
I can walk the walk, only up and down the block. My skinny jeans are a denim dream between shackled skin and crocs. I'm right here in the middle class. So motherfucking neutral, I'm a Swiss diplomat. I grew up in the city in a hijack. I grew up in the city as a squeaky clean square. This city's darkest corner is my shiny white
There you go. Brand new Bitch Queens. I like that. Gay overtones or gay undertones, whatever you call it, it's a rockin' tune and it's catchy. The whole album, pretty catchy. I'll play some more as it comes along. I'm getting another visitor into my room again. Hello? Okay. You opening my mail? Thank you.
Well, that's the
All right.
Doppelhammers for the trailer. And then you also have
I'm recording a show.
But you also have a class action.
Oh, great.
I'm saying you could probably get some money from that.
Okay. There you go. 2 shows in a row. Little guest appearance by the little lady. All right. Well, I'm not going to open my mail. And don't you love it when your wife opens your mail? It's great, isn't it? Let's thank some donors. I haven't thanked the people who donate to the Rock and Roll Geek Show in a long time, so I think I should do that now. Let me find some music to play in the background. Brand new Michael Schenker Fest, Revelation. I'm probably going to do a track by track of this at some point, but let's play it in the background. Might as well start off with the first song, Rock Steady, featuring Gary Barden, Graham Bonnet, Robin McCauley, and the Doogie, the Dukester. Well, Michael Schenker Fest. Here you go.
It all began long ago.
Thank you, everybody who donated to the Rock and Roll Geek Show. As you know, this show is a value for value model.
I'm a rock star.
Whatever value you get from this, I ask that you please donate. I do the show as often as I possibly can. I'm either usually extremely exhausted from working my ass off, or I lose my voice or something, but every chance I get, I try to do a show for you, friends. And I appreciate the donations because the donations are what keeps this show going. Without your donations, this show, as you know, would die a horrible, putrid, stench-filled death.
Hands up, we gotta get this started.
And there are several ways you can donate to the Rock and Roll Geek Show. Friends, you can go to patreon.com/RNRGeek.
We're keeping the faith, living it up.
Like Michael Brown, one of my oldest friends, donates $25 every episode. Joseph Coyne, $10 every episode. My bodyguard, Joe Pawlak, $6.66. Rodney Cross, $5. Derek Lewis, $5 every episode. Dan Gerawan, $5.
Hands up, we gotta get this started. Get up, you're gonna get away.
I like the idea of having 4 singers in your band. It's pretty, it's kind of an original idea, I think.
Rock steady.
And especially when those 4 singers are kind of cheesy, it makes it even funner. This song, not too bad. Thank you to Brian Springer for the $5. Thanks to Bette Wood, $5. Grand Farquhar, $5. Jamie Jefford, $5. Marshall York, $5. Tim Schall, $5. Robert Harvey, $5. Brad Shick, $5. Daniel Segan, $5. Friend of the show and friend of mine, Michael Street. Michael Street sent me nice pack of Cajun seasonings. Thank you, Michael Street. I really appreciate that, friends. Let's hear Schenker. Great solo. Man, he's good. There's Graham Bonnet with his crappy out-of-key vocals, which I like.
The boy became
Thank you to Ken Kennedy for the $5. Thanks to one of my best friends, Chiaki Hinohara of the Metal Moment Podcast and the Japanese Metalhead Show. Thanks to my podcast mentor, Dave Slusher. Will Mad at Dad ever return, or is Mad at Dad gone the way of good, clean fun? Stay tuned, friends. Thank you to John Baveri for the $5. Thanks to Kurt Crawford for the $3. Thanks to Derek Coward of Comic Book Noise, $2.50. Thanks to Chad Burns, $2.50. Paul Rube, $2.25. Adrian Bashon, Bosch Rock on the Rock and Roll Geek Facebook group, $2. Patrick Shanahan, $2. Mike Dixon, $2. Paul Underwood, maker of fine Underwood barbecue sauce, $2. Mike Dixon, $2. Oh, did I say that? Bruce McMillan, $2. Thanks to Matthew Hunt, $2. Thanks to Eric Stowell for the $2. Thanks to Bonstone, Metal Dan, Amy Bowen, John Richardson, Arnie Stash, Three Legs, Four Wheels, and Corey Kohler, all for the $1. Those are the Patreon donors. As I said before, thank you to John Nashed for the $50 cash at the Butler's gig. Just walked up to me and said, value for value. And I love it, friends. All right, let's find, what do we can find here? Sleeping with the Light On. Some of these songs just feature Doogie White. Some feature just Robin McCauley. Some feature just Graham Bonnet. Some feature just Gary Barden. Did I say that first one was Graham Bonnet? I think it was Gary Barden. Anyway, this one features Gary Barden, Graham Bonnet, Robin McCauley, and the Doogster, Sleeping with the Light On. Let's hear how this one sounds. I have not listened to this album yet. You can also go to PayPal, friends, or just go to rockandrollgeek.com and hit the donate button. And that'll take you to a PayPal link. Kurt Crawford, was that right? Wait a minute, no. Rodney Cross donated $50 for the birthday, for the 15th anniversary of the Rock and Roll Geek Show. Thank you, Rodney Cross. Thank you to Timothy Schall for the $25. Thanks to Donald Patterson, former guitar player of Stevie Stiletto at one point, $20. Thanks to Douglas Free, $20. Thanks to Jeff and Sherry Thielalaki for the $10. Thanks to Jason Shepard for the $10. Thanks to James Vinters for the $10.
You can leave a light on if you're afraid of the dark. Sleeping with the light on to fight back the night is sometimes hard.
Thanks to Dave Jackson at School of Podcasting, $10. Thanks to friend of the show and friend of mine, Todd Cunningham, for the $10. Happy anniversary, Todd Cunningham. Thank you to Dave Franco for the $10. Thank you to BJ Lisco for the $10. Thanks to Richard Fusey for the $5. Brett Garsky to $5. Thanks to John Offenlach for the $5. Thank you to Andrew Howe for the $5. Thanks to Dale Roller for $5. Thanks to Chris Del Garande for the $5. Thanks to Kelly Mitchell for the $5. Thanks to Jero Carroll for the $5. Thanks to Peter Spark, $5. Friend of the show and friend of mine, Ralph Miller, for the $5. Oh, excuse me, for the 10. Was it $5 or $10? I think he donated 10. Correct that in my notes here. Thanks to Benjamin Muller for the $5. Thanks to Dick. Try to pronounce your last name, Dick. Dick Schicht for the $5. Thanks to John Tennis for the $5. Dick Schicht is from the Netherlands. He's Dutch, I think. John Tennis, $5. Greg Long, $5. Thanks to Eric Lynch for the $5. Thanks to Blake Johnson, $5. Thanks to Kelly Mitchell for another $5. Let's hear the solo. Michael Schenker keeps getting better, I think. Thank you to Michael Williams for the $5. Thank you to Deborah Dreyfus, if that's your real name, for the $2. Thanks to Richard Fusey for another $2. Jason Wendleton, $2. William Moffat, $2. Thanks to Lassie Satvedhagen for the $2. Thanks to John Skiller for the $2. And finally, thank you to Bradford Page for the $2. Thank you to everybody who donated to the Rock and Roll Geek Show. Please keep the donations coming, because without your donation, this show would die a horrible, putrid, stench-filled, losing your voice kind of death. There you go. Well, those two songs I like, so maybe a track by track is in order for that one. All right, I got an audio comment, a couple of show reviews, let's play the first one here.
Hello.
Hello.
Michael Butler.
Let me turn it up. Is that Chris Capel? We need an update on Chris Capel's dating life.
Hello. Michael Butler. Excuse me, I'm burping up this fine Ghost Island IPA.
Okay, let me take a sip of
Let me
Tecate.
take a sip of this.
I'll join
take
you.
a sip of your fine Tecate and make the noise. Ready? Alrighty. Hello. Chris, the rock and roll copywriter
Hello,
from
Chris.
Connecticut, calling in with a show review of the ZZ Top 50th anniversary tour.
Yes, somebody else called
at
with a show
Jones-
review too, but we played that one of the recent episodes.
Theater, Wantagh, Long Island, on the South Shore of Long Island in New York, with Cheap Trick, and there was a blues guitarist guy opening up.
What was his name?
But first of all, here we go. You know what I'm going to ask, but I'll ask anyway. How you doing?
I am super great. Could not be better. Thank you for asking Chris Capel.
Glad to hear it.
Yes.
Glad to hear that. I hope all's going well out there. Congratulations on your daughter's wedding.
Thank you.
Congratulations on the mountain house.
Yes. Loving it. And
All
loving
right,
it.
so
And loving it. All right.
here we go.
Okay.
On September 19th, Thursday night, which it's Saturday now, I'm in Wilton, Connecticut, but I'm house sitting and dog sitting for someone who's in California, for an artist friend of mine. Actually, she's got some really cool rock art. I will post it on picture of it on the Geek Show and Facebook page
Okay.
when this show review is on.
All right.
But
We'll
I'm
look
probably
forward
like
to
2
that,
minutes in
friends.
and I haven't said anything.
By the way, you have to answer a couple of it's a closed Facebook group, Rock and Roll Geek Facebook group. It's a closed group. People, I get probably one or two a day, and I'm guessing about half of them don't answer the two simple questions. They get deleted immediately. They just get declined. Their request to join just gets nixed.
Yet. So, 50th anniversary. Now, I know JB from Dallas went.
Yes.
He went in the spring, and they had Bad Company on the bill, which we did not have. Apparently, there are some problems with Bad Company being on the bill.
Why?
That was such a great show review.
Okay. Yeah. Oh yeah.
Excuse me, I got to say that.
Yes, it was.
That's
good.
what a show review should be.
That's right, JB. Loved
So,
it.
50th anniversary ZZ Top show review. I'm laughing because I read his set list, and I will tell you my set list.
Exact.
Last time I saw ZZ Top was September 9th, 2016, which
They
was
probably did the exact same set list, didn't they, Chris?
3 years. It was 3 years and 10 days ago before I saw this one. And that one, I had actually gone to the U.S. Open tennis tournament in New York during the day, which is like noon to 5. Then I jumped in the car and drove out to Long Island, because that's in Queens, right near LaGuardia Airport and Citi Field where the Mets play. And then I saw ZZ Top that night with Government Mule, and the set list for that, which I'll get into too. I love ZZ Top. They should be like the biggest. They should be bigger than U2.
Are they in the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame? They got to be, right? ZZ Top is in the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame. I'm guessing that they are.
I mean, U2 should be playing medium-sized venues, and ZZ Top should be playing stadiums worldwide. But who said life was fair?
Yeah.
So I've seen ZZ Top dating back to the 80s. I saw them when I was in college on the Afterburner tour.
I saw them on the Fandango tour. What was that, 77, 78?
Jefford with Jimmy Barnes opening. And I counted 7 times I've seen him through the years. I saw him on Afterburner, on the one after that, the one with My Head's in Mississippi tour. I saw him on Antenna and the Rhythmine. Then, of course, then I got married, started having kids, so I didn't see those kind of bands as much. And then I saw him in 2012 at Beacon Theater with my friend Matt, who was also with me at this concert. And then I saw him 3 years ago, and then I saw him 2 nights ago. So it was billed the 50th anniversary tour, and so first the blues guitarist guy came on. He was good, decent enough. I mean, he's a blues guitarist. What do you want? The thing I remember the most is he played, and I heard it when I was coming in, Walking the Dog, which was made famous by Aerosmith, and actually the Rolling Stones did that before that. How's that for rock and roll knowledge?
There you go.
So he would, it's hard to sound bad when you're a blues guitarist and you're decent. So then Cheap Trick came on. Like, that guy came on at 7 to 7:30, and then Cheap Trick came on like 7:45, pretty quickly. And they changed their set around. They tend to change from night to night. So let me go to the Cheap Trick set. I have this here. Since I have my laptop at someone else's house, I can't have multiple windows open because it's not a big screen. Okay, so we all know Cheap Trick, the Xander kids on guitar, the Not Necessary,
Ian
whatever.
Xander.
What are you going to get Peterson's kid on next? Family and Friends.
Don't be surprised if it happens.
Okay, Hello There. And here's the second song, Standing on the Edge, which I probably haven't heard since like 1986 when we played it.
Good one.
Big Eyes, California Man.
Good set.
Ain't That a Shame? Stiff Competition.
Great
Wow,
one. Wow.
That's a great track from their best album, Heaven Tonight. Baby Loves to Rock, Stop This Game, bass solo. Then you can fill in the song for the next one. You already know what it is. Michael Butler. I Want You to Want Me, Dream Police, and Surrender. So that was
pretty
50
good set.
minutes. So
Pretty
you're
good
thinking,
set.
all right, that's the show, blah, blah, blah. Then Xander comes out and says, hey, we got room, got time for one more. So they go into Gonna Raise Hell, which is a great song, and it kind of builds and is very dynamic. And when they play it right, it can just like shake the whole stadium. And then they just went into Goodnight Now, and that was their set. So they played for like an hour. Jones Beach, if anybody hasn't been there, it's
By the way, that is Chris making that noise.
Amphitheater on
Not
water.
me.
It's like on the Shed circuit, but
Yes.
it's just like a grandstand. It's got like orchestra seats and then a grandstand, and I think it's like 14,000 people. Oh, and then by the way, I went with 2 other guys. Driving down, I used Waze on my iPhone, and it takes you all these crazy roads on Long Island and stuff. And at one point, I had to make a left turn, and I was in the wrong lane, so I went through a red light, and a cop pulled us over.
Oh, good.
And we're like, oh, crap. But Rock and Roll Geek Karma with us, we didn't get a ticket. I didn't get a ticket. I charmed the cop, and whatever. So he was like 12, the cop. But whatever. So he was nice, and we were just a bunch of, out-of-town dorks and whatever. So then ZZ Top came on, and if anybody looked up the set list from JB in Dallas, it was this exact same set list.
Of course it was.
As like I concur with him. If you went to a ZZ Top concert and just said, I'm going to go to the 50th anniversary, it was a pretty damn good show. I mean, because, it's ZZ Top. And, some people say they're kind of boring. And they don't really have much of a stage setup. They have a pile of amps on either side, which is funny because they're identical. I don't know if they're like those Cheap Trick amps
dummies
where they're really fakes. Because you ever notice if you see Cheap Trick and somebody's behind the amps and they walk by, you can see them through the amps because they're not real amps. They're just fakes.
Yeah, I went to. I told you I covered the Rock and Roll Fantasy Camp many years ago, and Cheap Trick was doing sessions there, and Rick Nielsen talked about his setup. He has his his speaker is in a road case, and the microphone goes in that road case, and he's got a rack on the side, but the speaker itself, the main sound is in that little road case, and all the other ones on the back are all dummies and lights. So I don't think Tom Peterson's is like that. Tom Peterson's is he plays Orange and stuff and Vox.
I don't know if they are or not, but they have the 2 amps, they have the 2 mic stands up front, and they play really all close to each other, kind of like like a bar band would.
Yep.
So my friend Matt, who was with me at the Beacon Theater show 7 years ago, said, he said it was a great set list. Now, he's been to as many concerts as I have, and he's been to a lot of them with me, because we've been going to concerts together for like 25 years, and he's a really good guitar player. But anyway, so, it was a good set list if you just hadn't been to ZZ Top recently. But, I look back at my 2016 set list and I look back at the 2012 set
Probably
list.
exactly the same.
They're like 75% the same songs in kind of the same order. But I'll read through it just for the hell of it.
Okay.
And there you go. Okay, Got Me Under Pressure.
Got me
I
under
Thank You.
pressure. Wait a
Wait for the bus.
minute. Back up. Me.
5% the same songs in kind of the same order. But I'll read through it just for the hell of it. And there you go. Okay, Got Me Under Pressure. I Thank You.
I want to thank you. You didn't have to love me like you did.
For the Bus, Jesus Just Left Chicago.
Jesus Just Left Chicago. Great one.
Give Me All Your Lovin'.
Give me all your loving.
Pearl Necklace.
You want a pearl necklace? The bass player sings that one, right?
I'm Bad, I'm Nationwide.
Nationwide.
Gots to Get Paid.
I got to get. That's a good one. That's on that most recent one, or one of the recent ones, which is great, by the way.
My Head's in Mississippi.
I don't know that
16 Tons, which is the old country cover. Beer Drinkers and Hellraisers.
Hellraisers on Fandango.
It's Got Paid. Sharp
Great riff on Trace Hombres.
and Legs.
What was the next before Legs?
Tons, which is the old country cover. Beer Drinkers and Hellraisers. Just Got Paid. Sharp Dressed Man, Legs.
Man. Okay, all right.
Encore. LaGrange.
Good one.
Tush and Jailhouse Rock, which they did a cover version on Fandango.
That's right. It's on Fandango, the live side.
Yeah, so agreeing with JB from Dallas, it could have been better.
It's a pretty good set
list. though. I think for the average fan, it was a fine set
Yes,
list.
exactly.
50th anniversary, probably just, just kind of informing us. It really didn't have anything to do with the
nothing
show.
special
and
about it.
They don't tend to talk a lot.
Yes.
Actually, this show, I will say, they did a little more talking, and Dusty Hill did a little more singing. So I would say it was a little better than the last couple I saw. I mean, again, it's not bad. It wasn't anything exciting with, new songs or a change of set list or Fandango or Tres Hombres back to front or front to back or whatever they're going to do. But, so I of course, text Michael Butler because he thinks I go to shows every weekend, which I don't. All right, but the real news is what everybody wants to hear. Nobody cares about the show. Yes. They can look it up. We've all seen
Let's hear it.
Top.
All right, we
It's
want to
not
know what
any different
happened.
every time.
All right, let me pause.
Chris the Rock and Roll Copywriter date review.
Hold on. Wait a second.
I went to a blind date on the Rolling Stones concert. That was August 1st. It's September 21st now. We've been out 6.
All right, let's take bets. Is he still with her, or did it not work out? I'm gonna guess that he's still with her.
Time since then. So, She hasn't told me to get lost yet, so
Good.
I guess that's a good thing.
Yes. Thank you.
And I think there'll be another concert coming up next month. I can give a show review and blah, blah, blah. So that's what's going on here in Connecticut. Saturday night, I'm just having a couple beers, dog sitting, house sitting. Got to take this guy out to pee in a few minutes. And what else is there to say? I hope everyone's well. Stay frosty.
Stay frosty. Thank you,
See
Chris.
ya.
Thank you, Chris Capel. I'm glad that it's still working out with the girl. Let's all give some positive dating karma to Chris Capel, the rock and roll copywriter. I take a sip of this fine Tecate. To him and his lovely, from the pictures I've seen, I've not seen her face, but her body looks pretty good. Let's all raise a toast to Chris Capel's dating life. All right. Let's play a song and come back. I got another audio coming, then we'll get into the Black Star Riders review. Since he went to the Cheap Trick show, I got a email from Tim Binder. He's promoting Ian Zander, the guy, Robin Zander's son, who has been playing with Cheap Trick, has a band called Yes Factory, and they have a new song. It's called Radio Waves. Have not heard this, so let's see how it is.
What's left to be said? I know that it's all you're thinking. You let it get to your head. So then away on the radio waves again. Call a good one under the sun. Hear the sound reflect in your headset. What's the problem? What's left to be said? It's only when I get to thinking the rhetoric is well said. Sipping away on the radio waves again. Call a good one under the sun. Hear the sound reflect in your headset. What's the problem? Lost you out on the floor, caught up in the sound. Drive stereo, gotta help it. You accept it and keep up. Let's meet at the silver stage. We'll rush to the shining lights. Fuel the flame under the sun till it fades out. What's the problem? What's there to regret if I never get to thinking? I keep it out of my head. Sipping away on the radio waves again. Call a good one under the sun. Hear the sound reflect in your headset. What's the problem? Call a good one under the sun. Hear the sound reflect in your headset. What's the problem?
There you go. Yes Factory. That's not bad. A little catchy pop tune. Featuring Ian Zander, who's playing with Cheap Trick. All right, I got a thing showed up on the Facebook, on the Rock and Roll Geek Facebook group, which I did not create, but I do approve. People just got to answer 2 questions, so I know you're not a Russian hacker or a whistleblower. Gary Holt cameo. Casey Crenshaw apparently Gary Holt, Exodus guitar player, plays with Slayer too. Apparently he's on Cameo. Cameo is this site where you can pay people to send messages to people. You can pay minor celebrities and other celebrities money to say messages. And Gary Holt is on there, and Casey Crenshaw paid Gary Holt to send me a message. All right, so and hilarity ensues. Let's have a listen.
Mike Butler. Butler, what are you doing, my buddy?
Hey.
Your friend, and I use some terms loosely,
Yeah.
Casey Crenshaw asked me to send you a message.
Me too.
And he said, glad to hear it. Remember that time you quit my band so you could be an American Heartbreak? How's
Okay,
that
first of all, let me hold on, Sid.
working out?
Okay, let me back it up here.
Quit my band so you could be an American Heartbreak? How's that working out?
All right, first of all, I did not quit Exodus. The story is, the official story, my side of the story is, Exodus got dropped from Capitol Records. Rather than owe Capitol money, Gary disbanded the band and started another band, which was, I believe, going to be called War Dance. It was supposed to be John Joseph from Cro-Mags. Is that he's in Cro-Mags? On vocals. Me on bass. Tom Hunting on drums. And somebody else on guitar. And a guy named John on guitar, I think. And I was playing with him in that, and I was in about 4 other bands, and Gary kicked me out of that band because I showed up to practice once and didn't know the material that well because I was kind of spread thin and working my ass off and tired. And so he kicked me out, and shortly after that, Exodus reformed without me. So I did not quit Exodus, just for the record.
Band so you could be an American Heartbreak? How's that working out? What a dick.
Yeah.
He goes, sorry, didn't see you at the Exodus reunion. Yeah, I am sorry about that.
All right. First, and another thing. This thing that Gary Holt is saying was written by Casey Crenshaw, just so you know. All right, let me back. All right, I'm going to stop interrupting. Let's take it from the top.
Mike Butler. Butler, what are you doing, my buddy?
Hey, buddy.
Hey, your friend, and I use some terms
Yeah.
loosely, Casey Crenshaw asked me to send you a message. And he said, glad to hear it. Remember that time you quit my band so you could be an American Heartbreak? How's that working out? What a dick. He goes, sorry, didn't see you at the Exodus reunion. Yeah, I am sorry about that. You know, Mike, when we do another mini residency at the
Yes.
chapel, you got to come and play something off Force of Habit.
Well,
an album that we should play something off of and we don't.
I was invited to the last one and uninvited at the last minute. So if I'm invited to the next one, I will play at the next one. I'll say it again. My time in Exodus was my favorite time in rock and roll in my entire life of rock and roll. And I cherish every moment I had in that band. It was a blast.
Dude, I got to get out to a Butler show one of these days, dude. I'm so fucking
You got to
bad.
come jam
I'm
with
all
the
the way up
Butlers,
fucking
Gary.
north anyway, so get to the Bay Area, I'll come and see you. I swear to God. Mike, take care, dude. Hope to see you soon, man. Later.
All right, later. There you go. Gary Holt Casey paid $25 to Gary Holt. You too can pay Gary Holt $25 to send me a message. Write him another script for Michael Butler. Pay Gary Holt $25 and tell him bust my balls some more. I love it. All right. All right. I got another audio comment, and then we'll go into the Black Star Riders track by track review.
Hey, Michael Butler. Friend of the show and friend of yours.
Yes.
Ralph Miller here.
Hey, Ralph Miller.
I hope this week finds you well. I know you've got a wedding coming up on Saturday.
Yeah.
And if you have time to listen to this show review, then, well, good for you. You're making time for rock and roll. So
Yes. I never listened to the show reviews before I play them on the show, so I'm just now listening to this, Ralph.
to tell you about my adventure last Friday, September 6th, at the Hart, Joan Jett, and L. King show in Concord, California.
At the Concord Pavilion.
So this is the Hart reunion tour of sorts.
Yes.
That the sisters had a breakup after a family spat back at the end of their 2016 tour, where Nancy Wilson went off and founded Roadcase Royale, put together her own band, and I believe was going to open for Bob Seger later that year, or in 17, but he canceled and they didn't tour. So I've never seen her her Roadcase Royale band. Ann Wilson has been touring, doing a concert of covers, which I'm very, very sure we saw open for Cheap Trick last year. So this tour was announced back in February, and since Joan Jett was opening, immediately said to my wife, "Hey, do you want to go see Joan Jett and Hart again?" I've drugged my wife to quite a few Joan Jett concerts, and
Yes.
not having gotten a response in a day and tickets went on sale, I decided, well, if she doesn't really want to go, then I'll take the money I would have spent on her ticket and buy myself a very nice ticket. So I ended up with a front row single.
Oh, you went by yourself.
For the Hart, Joan Jett, and
Wow.
Elle King show.
Front row.
Which has been on the calendar all summer, and it finally came. So this was a Friday night show in the Bay Area, which means lots of traffic.
Yes. Oh boy.
It took me
yes.
a little over 3 hours to get from
Concord,
from my driveway to my seat at the
worst
show.
traffic in the world.
Concord Pavilion, a pretty nice smaller amphitheater in the East Bay Hills, which is where I grew up. So this place was about 20 minutes away from my family home. So I got there about 6:20, and I did know somebody at the show. My friend Amy, who I met at a Cheap Trick concert that my wife and I sat next to her maybe 3 years ago. And Amy goes to a lot of shows and takes a lot of pictures. So it was nice. I see her a few times a year at various shows. I caught up with her and asking her about her week. I knew we're Facebook friends, so I knew she had had a busy week. She mentioned the one show she didn't get to that she was supposed to go to because she was super tired was Tiffany.
Oh, the one
I
I
said,
went to.
"Oh, you were supposed to go to Tiffany? I can tell you all about the Tiffany show."
Yes.
Friend of mine. Well, anyway, I'm against my better judgment.
Yeah,
I'm
that
gonna
story is on the last Mad at Dad, friends.
send her a link to the Mad at Dad recap and your interview with Tiffany. I did. I was listening to the Mad at Dad stalker interview on the drive up, and I thought it was hilarious. Excellent work.
Thank you.
Anyway,
friend.
back to the show. So Elle King was the opening act. I knew of her from her song X's and O's.
I do not
which
know
I had
her.
heard on Sirius XM Garage Band channel, I think a few times, and she did a 30-minute set, really good. She did a cover of Stop Dragging My Heart Around,
nice.
a duet with her guitar player. So she's kind of a country rock hybrid, but she was great voice and a really good band. Next up was Joan Jett, which I really don't need to go through the Joan Jett song list because it hasn't really changed much in the last 20 years.
Pretty much the same all the time.
But the surprise song she did do was Long Time, which I had no idea was coming. And
is that on Long Time? Is that on what is Long Time on? Is that it's either on Glorious Results of Misspent Youth. It might be on that.
It wasn't until I got home and looked it up, I saw it was on the Glorious Results
There
album.
you go. How's that for Joan knowledge, friends?
So she played.
By the way, great album, Glorious Results of a Misspent Youth. That's a great Joan Jett album.
Great set, greatest hits. She had a bunch of people on the side stage, like family and friends of all ages.
Yeah,
watching.
she always does.
And her set, or her setup was very far back from the front of the stage. It's like they had all her amps and monitors set up behind the opening act stuff, which was set up on a riser near the front. So when she wanted to come out to the crowd and play a guitar solo, she had to kind of walk 20 feet in front of her microphone and play, which is It was different.
Uh-huh.
Anyway, it was a really nice night. I liked the Concord Pavilion. They were serving Lost Coast Tangerine beer, which is one of my favorite beers.
Oh, really? Huh.
And
try that. Tangerine
Yes, about
beer.
9:30, Hart came out. And the band was a little different. It looks like it was mostly people that play with Ann Wilson and Nancy Wilson with one of her guitar players from the Roadcase Royale band. And they did Rockin' Heaven Down, Magic Man, Love Alive, which was the name of the tour. Then they did a Yes cover called Your Move, which I recognize the song, but not one of my favorites. Straight On.
Straight on for you.
And then a cover of Simon Garfunkel's The Boxer. These Dreams. Dog and Butterfly.
Dog and the Butterfly.
Little Queen, which I really enjoyed.
Yeah,
I had not heard them play Little Queen in a long time.
That's a good
one. It's kind of the song that stuck in my head the last couple days. And Even It Up. What About Love? Mistral Wind, which is my bathroom song. Bathroom break song.
Oh, yeah.
Can't stand it.
Yeah. I don't even know.
I got back in time to hear the last song, Crazy on You,
Uh-huh.
which is probably my favorite song.
Probably everybody's.
Then encore was Stairway to Heaven.
And they Barracuda.
Alone, and they closed out with Barracuda. Voices sounded great. Being the front row was great.
It's kind of fun
Took a lot
going
of
to
pictures.
It's kind of fun going to shows by yourself sometimes, isn't it, Ralph?
Had a great time. Went out to the parking lot, waited and waited for it to clear, and instead of a 3-hour drive home, I was home in an hour and a half, which is what it should take to get to the Concord Pavilion, but not on a Friday. But it was well worth it. It was a great night, good music, and I'd do it again. Although I've seen Hart and Joan Jett many times, still haven't fallen off the list of bands that I always want to see, but they're hanging in there.
Good.
So have a great week, have a good wedding, and I'll see you later.
All right. You too can leave an audio comment or show review. Area code 706-621-ROCK, or do the best thing, record it on your phone and email it to rockandrollgeek@gmail.com. All right. Ready to do a track by track of Another State of Grace Black Star Riders. We're an hour into this, and we're finally getting to it. All right. Let me find something to write on here. So this is this the 4th or 5th Black Star Riders album? I'm going to pull up the Wikipedia here. It's it is their 4th album. First one was All Hell Breaks Loose, then The Killer Instinct, then Heavy Fire, and then Another State of Grace. Produced by who produced this? Produced by the guy who mixed Killer Instinct and Heavy Fire, a guy named Jay Rustin. So the way it works is, you know, if I like the song, I give it a +1. If I don't like, this is the Rock and Roll Geek scoring system. Everybody knows. By the way, if you just found this by Googling, you probably got tired of listening for an hour of me rambling to finally get to the track by track review. So, got rid of them. So the way the Rock and Roll Geek scoring system goes, if I like the song, I give it a +1. If it's okay, I give it a half. I'm writing as I talk. Black Star Riders, another. If I don't like the song, I give it a 0. Okay, and there's 10 songs on this album, so it'd be easy to do out of 10. So if I like every song, it'll be a 10 out of 10. All right, let's get right into it. First song, Tonight, The Moonlight Let Me Down.
Can I fill up place of no surrender. Wishing things were
Extremely catchy, good riff, good guitars, good tones, and extremely catchy. I like it. Right out of the gate, I like it.
never live. I'm always going, but I'll never go. I'm always thinking, but I'll never know. I'm always running, but I'm moving slow. Whatever you've been, you are always the one. Whatever you did, you should always have done. Wherever you went, you should never have gone. I can't wait till you come back home. Tonight the moonlight let me down. I'm still here and you're not around. You're out of sight and you're out of sound. Tonight the moonlight let me down.
Now, this is a big +1. I like this song a lot.
Do you still remember making out on a stormy weather? Wishing it would last forever, but it never does. You're always laughing, but you never smile. You're always crying, but you never cry. Got all the answers, but you wonder why. Can't win for losing, but you gotta try. Whatever you've been, you are always the one. Whatever you did, you should always have done. Wherever you went, you should never have gone. I can't wait till you come back home. Tonight the moonlight let me down. I'm still here and you're not around. You're out of sight and you're out of sound. Tonight the moonlight let me down. Tonight the moonlight let me down. I'm still here and you're not around. You're out of sight and you're out of sound.
If I had to compare it to any Thin Lizzy, I would probably be, I'd say Thunder and Lightning era, maybe Renegade.
Moonlight let me down. Tonight the moonlight let me down. Whatever you've been, you are always the one. Whatever you did, you should
All right, great pop song. I like this one. +1, big +1.
never have gone. I can't
All right, enough of that one. All right, second song is Another State of Grace. The title track of our new album, Another State of Grace. Maybe Gary Moore and Thin Lizzy, or Gary Moore, Phil Lynott sounding.
They called it the troubles 'cause it wasn't
So that would be Black Rose.
harder to ignore. The strength gave us courage, whiskey made us fight. Back when blood was thicker, back when blood was tight. Here comes the hallelujah man with free love, guns and dope. The last Irishman in Brooklyn just went up in fire and smoke. Bind the sons to exile to serve the motherland. Keep us all indebted and afraid of Uncle Sam. I couldn't love you anymore. Couldn't love you any less.
I like the verses and the intro riff. I'm not crazy about the chorus.
Another state of grace. In another state of grace. I'll cross my heart and hope to die. In another state of grace.
I like this part.
Democracy is coming on a sea of alcohol. From construction sites to shipyards, you better sing along.
Reminds me a little bit of Out in the Fields, Gary Moore solo.
That's the order of the day. I couldn't love you anymore. Couldn't love you any less. I'll cross my heart and hope to die in another state of grace.
Here, solo. We'll get it through the solo and we'll get out of this one.
Grace. I'll
of one.
Okay, all right. I'm going to give it a soft one. It's verging on a half, but it's all in all, I like the song. All right, third song, Ain't the End of the World. I played this on a previous episode of the Rock and Roll Geek Show, and I liked it. So obviously it's going to be a +1, but let's hear a little bit of it again. Dual harmony guitars, sounds great, super catchy.
Well, they said you were no good for me, that you would bring me down to your level. You said you would drag me through the mud and tarnish my name forever.
I think these guys performed today on Eddie Trunk's show. Am I right about that? I don't know. I did not listen, but I saw on Black Star Riders Facebook that they were on Eddie Trunk. So I'm kind of off the Eddie Trunk train. I'm kind of stopped listening.
That's why I call him nowhere, 'cause you're great at making choices that I live to regret. If it ain't the end of
Super catchy chorus.
If it ain't the end of the world, if it ain't the end of the world, it's the end of you and me.
I'm opening my fourth Tecate now. I'm starting to get a buzz on a Thursday night.
Waste. They said you were fooling around. Was one more fool around this place.
This also reminds me of something off of Renegade.
Guess I was never heard
It doesn't remind me of a song off Renegade. It just sounds like that style of Thin Lizzy that would be on Renegade, which is one of my favorite Thin Lizzy albums. Produced by Chris Tangarides.
That's why I call him nowhere, 'cause you're great at making choices that I live to regret. If it ain't the end of the world, if it ain't the end of the world, if it ain't the end of the world, it's the end of you and me. Said you were no good for me.
Breakdown.
That you would bring me down to your level. They said you would drag me through the mud, tarnish my name forever. If it ain't the end of the world.
Big +1. It's probably this one of my favorites on the album. So far we're 3 for 3.
If it ain't the end of the world.
All right, next song, Underneath the Afterglow. Is that a talk box?
I've been denied to join a broken hearted.
Little bit of a generic sounding one. I'm leaning towards a half. The song does not suck. It's got a good sound, good attitude in the vocal delivery. I think I'm going to give it a half. We'll listen a little bit more. We'll get into the solo. Good bass tone. This bass player used to play in Rat. Forget his name. Alright, I'm giving it a half. Trying to remember the bass player's name, but it's not important. Robbie Crane is the guy. All the guys in the band: Ricky Warwick, Scott Gorham, C. Martucci on guitar, Robbie Crane on bass, and Chad Zeliga on drums. They got a lot of new members. Damon Johnson no longer in the band, and different bass player now too. Because Marco Mendoza, I think was the bass player. All right, half. Next song, Soldier in the Ghetto. Soldier in the Ghetto. Disco thing. Come on and take a free ride.
We need a contribution to help us find a solution.
With the exception of the disco sounding keyboard thing, it's kind of catchy, but you can do without the keyboard thing.
There was a man to keep. Work my fingers to the bone. Dug myself in way too deep, yeah. Don't define yourself by what you are. Define yourself by what you love. I'm a soldier in the ghetto.
Catchy sing-along chorus. I've told this story before, but when I played with Ginger down in L.A., Ricky Warwick got on stage and played Sick of Drugs with us. And he came to our rehearsal, too. Well, so I can drop some names.
Nothing's really changed. People try to move on up, but they just can't rearrange it. They'll give you what you want, repossess all you own. I don't know where I live, but I wanna go home, yeah. Don't define yourself by what you are. Define yourself by what you love. I'm a soldier in the ghetto, fighting for a few home truths.
I'm giving this one a +1. I like it. All right, next song, a ballad. Why Do You Love Your Guns? This is the, I think Ricky Warwick, this is one of his favorite songs on the album. And this is his political statement against guns. Supposedly he wrote this after Sandy Hook. Now I'll rate the song on the merits of the catchiness of the tune. But I will say this, I don't need Ted Nugent telling me, I think he could tell me on a Facebook post or something, but in his songs, I don't need him telling me how Barack Obama's a piece of shit. Feel my heart. And I don't need Ricky Warwick telling me to get rid of guns. I'm still dreaming, I woke up scared. Oh, I woke up scared. When everything is broken, there's nothing left to fix. Don't matter where the bullet goes. I think if I saw them play this live, I'd probably go off and get a beer. Yeah, it's kind of a dull song. Regardless of the message that he's telling us. I woke up lonely. Time moves so slowly. I remember only the good, 'cause the bad won't forget you. I won't forget you. I woke up lonely. When everything is broken, there's nothing left to fix. Don't matter where the bullet goes. Why do you love your guns more than your kids? His message is, why do you love your guns more than the kids? Well, I'm not going to get into that discussion with Ricky Warwick, but can't you love your guns and your kids separately? I don't know, just a thought. That being said, I'm giving the song a 0. I don't like the song. It's kind of boring. All right, next song, Standing in the Line of Fire. Fire! Standing in the Line of Fire. Okay. Standing in the Line of Fire. Another one starts off with a drum. I'll take another shot of whiskey. But second thought, you better make it true. I've got a lot on my mind today, and we've got a lot of drinking to do. So long live life loving, So he loves switchblade knives, but he hates guns. All right.
Never in question, never in doubt. Don't give up on something you can't live without. Everyone's got a little blood in this mess. When you win, say nothing. When you lose, say less. I'm better off alone than in bad company. Why can't you take the hit? Why can't you let me be? I'm losing control. I got no desire. Out in the open, standing in the land of fire.
All right, I'm gonna give this one a half. Let's get a little bit more of it. I like a breakdown.
So long live life loving retribution. Long live life loving revolution. Rock, paper, scissors, and dynamite. When everything's starting to feel alright. I'm not asking for mercy, I'm not asking for.
All right, I'm giving this one a half. It's okay. Next song. What will it take? What will it take?
What will it take for me to make you smile?
I think there's some. I think there's some female background vocals on this. I think
Can we negotiate? What will it take?
might be the next one. I like the acoustic
Does
guitar.
it take more than a lot? What does it take? Does it take more than we got? What does it take? Can we communicate? What does it take? What does it take? I think it's gonna take a miracle to turn this thing around.
I like the female background vocals.
To chase the nothing that we got. What will it take to turn it into something that we want? What will it take before we see the light? What will it take? What will it take for me to make you see? What will it take for me to set you free? What will it take? Can we reciprocate? What will it take? What will it take? What does it take to change your point of view? What does it take to stop this world from being cruel? What does it take? Can we cooperate? What does it take? What will it take? I think it's gonna take a miracle to turn this thing around. What will it take to change the nothing that we got? What will it take to turn it into something that we want? What will it take before we see the light? They came to wreck it all and ruin our lives. These days, only the strong survive. We can't replace all the memories we lost. Why must love and happiness always come at such a cost? Hey! What will it take to change?
I'm giving it a soft +1. It's a decent song. It's not great, but I like it. All right, next song, In the Shadow of the War Machine.
Junior started school today in the shadow of the war machine.
I another political song.
Rent is due and the bills to pay in the shadow of the war machine.
I like that.
Junior started school today in the shadow of the war machine. The rent is due and the bills to pay in the shadow of the war machine. My mama's sick, I can't afford no doc in the shadow of the war machine. Pay my taxes and what have I got in the shadow of the war machine? A little something to ease the conscience. Hey, Mr. President, are you watching? One step forward and two step backwards. We can't stand up for falling down. I'm tired of living on my knees in the shadow of the war machine.
I kind of like this one. It doesn't really go anywhere, but I like the feel of it.
Shadow of the war machine. What in the world have we done to deserve this in the shadow of the war machine? Fall for a clown and you get a circus in the shadow of the war machine. A little something to ease the conscience. Hey, Mr. President, are you watching? One step forward and two step backwards. We can't stand up for falling down.
Am I going to give it a +1 or should I give it a... I don't know if it's worthy of a +1.
A little something to ease the conscience. Hey, Mr. President, are you watching? One step forward and two step back.
All right, I'm going to give it a half so I can keep my rock credibility. All right, next song and the last song of the album, Poisoned Heart.
You got a poison heart. You got a poison heart. Some sugar look the same. Some sugar look the same. You got a poison heart. You got a poison heart. It's all or nothing in this game.
I like that.
Well, I think I finally figured out what's been going on. You talked the whole way through the movie, spoiled the show for everyone. You can't jaywalk your way out of this with all your swagger in your sleeve. You can dish it out alright, but you can't take it back. Watch what you say. I was never good at second chances. I was never good at telling.
Pre-chorus, it's okay.
Being honest, I was always good at goodbyes. You got a poison heart. You got a poison heart.
I like that.
Sugar look the same. Sugar look the same. You got a poison heart. You got a poison heart. It's all or nothing in this game.
That right there, I wish that was more prominent. Let me back it up a little bit.
Poison heart. It's all or nothing in this game.
This part here. That's good.
You're a satellite that's gone too far. You're way out of reach. When the day and night get crazy, you're all the minutes in between. Your friends don't need it, they can't believe how much you can complain. Don't blame it on karma, don't blame it on me, don't blame it on Kane. I was never good at second chances.
I want to give it a +1, but this pre-chorus kind of sends it back down to a half. I'm going to give this one a half. So let's tally it up, shall we? Let's see. We got 1, 2, 3.5, 4.5, 5, 6, 7 out of 10. Not a bad review. Blabbermouth gives it... Where's Blabbermouth here? Blabbermouth gives it a 7.5 out of 10. Do you agree with me, friends? If you do agree with me and think this album is pretty good, send me an email, rockandrollgeek@gmail.com, with the subject line, Butler, Gary Holt rules, and so do you. If you disagree and think this album is way better than a 7 out of 10, or it sucks, rockandrollgeek@gmail.com with the subject line, Butler, give it up. I wish you would have lost your voice forever. You suck! All right. Putting that as subject line, rockandrollgeek@gmail.com. All right, there you go, friends. 7 out of 10 Black Star Riders. Not a bad album, I don't think. It's about right. It's pretty scientific score, I think. Let me know what your scoring system is on Black Star Riders. I got several others that I want to do. I should probably do the Michael Schenker. I should do the Jesse Malin. Yeah. So there's some things coming down too. There's Michael Monroe's album's coming out probably any time now as well. All right, I'm going to wrap it up here, friends. I'm going to play one more song before we get out of here. Hope you enjoyed this hour and a half Rock and Roll Geek episode on a Thursday. Thank you for listening, friends. Please keep the donations coming. As you know, rockandrollgeek@gmail.com. Blah, 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 blah. Without your donations, the show will die a horrible future, stench-filled death. It's a value for value. If you got any value out of this, did you? Did you like hearing Gary Holt bust Butler's balls? Did you enjoy, if you got any value, I mean, I can't pay you. I guess I could. But if there's any value, friends, I need your donations very badly, especially because I want to get the hell out of the Bay Area and back and up to the mountains and live there for good. And I can't do it on this little measly donations, friends. So please keep the donations coming. You know, it'd be nice if I could just do a Rock and Roll Geek show at like 3 times a week up there from the mountain house. Need a lot more donations to do that, friends, but that would be very nice. All right. Thank you for listening, friends. Find me on the all right, find me at rockandrollgeek.com is where you can find the show. rockandrollgeek@gmail.com, as I've said about 400 times in this episode. You can find me on the Facebook R&R Geek. There's a closed Facebook Rock and Roll Geek group. You just got to answer 2 very simple questions, so I know you're not a whistleblower trying to take me down due to collusion with Ukraine. You can find me on the Twitter, R&R Geek. You can find me on the Instagram, Rock and Roll Geek. Don't ask. And that's enough ways to reach me. Let's close out with one more song. How about a brand new Airbourne song by the band Airbourne? They got really big for a while there. I was the first band to ever play Airbourne. Not the first band. I was the first podcast or radio show in the world to play Airbourne. And I'm still a fan of those guys. This song, they have a new album coming out. Is it called Bone Shaker? I think it might be called Bone Shaker. This song is called Bone Shaker, and I like it. That guitar player and then singer for Airbourne, he's great. I think his name is Joel. That's what I'm going to play for you, friends. Brand new Airbourne. Thank you for listening. I will talk to you very soon. I'm going up to the mountains this weekend, and I can't wait. It's going to be very cold, and I get to start the wood-burning stove. looking forward to being up there in the cold. Thank you for listening. I'll talk to you soon. Here's Airbourne.
It's a rock and roll geek train wreck.